We are live. This is the market update. Today is dip day. Why is the market down? We don't know. Markets need a reason to go up. They need a theme and lots of people to pile in. And they need absolutely no reason to go down. None. First, it was everybody in. Now it's everybody out. And then very soon, more than likely, you will have everybody back in again because they ran a 10% off sale, a 10% off sale on crypto. We will talk about some of the excesses that was happening, like Fartcoin in the top 10, Pengu taking out Bonk. You know, nothing against Pengu, but if you watch this video, you're going to get a very clear idea as to why the market went down, and you're going to get a clear idea of how it comes back thanks to the work of Arthur Hayes. I just put a summary of what Arthur Hayes said because we like to have our members get stuff quick, get stuff fast so they can reference it. So the YouTube members have got it. I've got a list of coins here that are going to go into the Patreon Platinum area, some of which I will go over today for dip buying, right? And today is exactly that, right? It's a flash crash, dip buying, and you see this all the time in stocks. So if you're worried, don't be. Because after you hear this Arthur Hayes thing, you're going to change your mind about this ugly price action, even if it lasts 2 or 3 days, right? You want to say to yourself, do I have conviction in this market? Do I have conviction in this market? Because markets will test you. They will test you, especially bull markets. And bull markets are not always easy. But the good news is I'm going to walk you through it. And the even better news is, and this is why you got to stay, you stay for the charts because this market just got sent right down in the LuxAlgo support in many cases, right? I mean, Solana is a classic. You know, Solana has a case for 200, 300, 400, but they just can't stop testing 180. They just love that. You got to take advantage of it, right? We're talking about this multiple days. You get these red days, 2, 3%, take advantage. Some of this stuff over a 2-day period is down 15%. My colleague, Toby, on the way out the door, we're discussing, what the picks are going to be for, both Patreon and YouTube. I go, man, XRP is really getting hammered. And she just looks at me and goes, add that to the list, right? Because again, XRP, made in America cryptos. Now you're like, okay, Bill, isn't this made in America crypto thing going a little bit too far? And the answer is absolutely not. This scandal is going to come home to roost. The more they press them on the scandal, the more they're going to have to press on crypto. They're coming up with an announcement at the end of July. That's, if they have any sense at all, that's got to be either the Sovereign Wealth Fund or the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. It has to be, right? The SEC all of a sudden pulled a certain kind of ETF. I don't know what was up with that. But again, if they don't do it, they're stupid. If they do it, our bags go up. If they don't do it, it's sovereigns behaving badly, and our bags eventually go up because they will be consumed by this scandal. Now, there was the other worry today that crypto was down because Magnificent 7 earnings were going to come out. Google, which is in the worst shape, I think, of any stock in the Magnificent 7 because Perplexity and all these other chatbots are eating their search business. Their earnings were just fine, thank you very much. They were just fine. So what is the problem in crypto? Well, more sellers than buyers or some problem we don't know about. Like, for example, Uncle Sugar may not make an announcement, even though they said they would. Now, when you hear some of the stuff that's going on about this scandal, again, how are they not doing it? How are they not doing it? We're going to go over that because all the things that I've been saying, the Ethereum ETF, the XRP futures contract, the Solana ETF with staking, Bitcoin, I don't know, headed for support at 115, 116, who knows? Or maybe Bitcoin is just going to sit there and not do anything, allowing altcoins to continue to rally. I mean, there are going to be people who miss this who are going to go, oh my God, it's down 15%. I mean, Solana at 180, for God's sake, Solana's been at 180, 150, 160 for a year and a half. It feels like Christmas to me, unless there's going to be some kind of announcement tomorrow that comes out of nowhere, like a geopolitical event. But I don't think that's the case, right? I think this whole idea of the files is such a problem. They're going to have to pivot to crypto on a regular basis. And it's already happened, right? That was my call. It wasn't just going to be crypto week with the Genius bill, right? They were going to go further, right? They were going to go to, the act that legalizes crypto, that makes it the real deal. Plus, they got to get involved. They got to get involved, right? Because otherwise, there's no distraction that lasts. Changing the name of the football team in the Washington, D.C. area is not going to work. Okay. Prosecuting your political enemies from the past, even if there is wrongdoing, isn't going to work, right? The more you come after them, the more they're going to demand, justice on this scandal. So even though the scandal is, wildly unfortunate because innocent people got hurt, this scandal, and the more they try to bury it, is ridiculously bullish crypto. Ridiculously bullish crypto. So we begin the day with insult to injury, with something that would discourage you, with Stonks making a new high, up 31% from the April lows, creating one of the biggest rallies and short squeezes ever, undoubtedly courtesy of the Fed, high-powered money, and extremely bearish sentiment. Fear greed was at zero, meaning there was no one bullish at the low, and everybody had a call for a recession off these tariffs, which, to the orange man's credit, he's pulling off a deal. Now, there are also Wall Street firms betting that he's going to refund all the tariffs to these countries. Be that as it may, I don't know. He's looking pretty smart compared to what people thought in April. So he's got to add to that. If he can turn tariffs into a sovereign wealth fund or get something going on the Bitcoin strategic reserve, for God's sakes, man, do what makes sense, particularly if you're in trouble. U.S. has $300 billion to go to get to $37 trillion in debt. And we're selling crypto, like, with both hands. Okay, yeah, there's been a good rally. There's been profit taking, but they can't dump XRP fast enough. I did a short video about the angry XRP Army. I'm so mad I had to wait this long, and it made a new high, and it came off, and I'm just angry. The angry XRP Army, and everybody's selling and bailing out today. Okay. You guys do that, right? And then, Ripple IPOs or gets taken over. I mean, again, people are not following along with the TradFi bid that is coming into equities. Like, for example, is coming into crypto. You have Fidelity buying ETH. Why is that significant? Well, first of all, Fidelity is very connected with retail, and they're essentially the biggest mutual fund company in the world, if not the second biggest behind Vanguard. Huge. And what you might not realize is whatever stock mutual fund you buy, whether it's the S&P, it's the growth stock fund, it's the value stock fund, it's the European fund, it's the emerging market, whatever it is, you can bet that somewhere inside that mutual fund will be a Magnificent Seven stock. It used to be Apple, the European ETF, Apple, the small cap ETF, Apple. Seriously. Because, Who can outperform the Magnificent Seven? Nobody. Now, what happens if crypto is the only source of what I call beta, meaning it's the fastest moving instrument, and it provides alpha, which means it's better than any kind of equivalent, right? It's better than the dollar. It's faster moving than gold and silver. So if they can put a Magnificent Seven stock in every mutual fund, why can't they put Ethereum in? Why can't they put Bitcoin in? Why can't they put the Solana ETF, the eventual XRP ETF? Why can't that go in every single mutual fund as like a currency or like gold? 1-2% we'll put in gold. You got any idea how much crypto they got to buy if they put 2% of crypto in every single fund that they have? Oh my God, it's enormous. Like we're going to go over some of what Arthur Hayes had to say today. Again, the concise version is in the YouTube member area, but so for like reference, but I will go over it today. Like, how exactly does Bitcoin get to 250K? How exactly does that happen? Okay, well, I'll help explain it to you. Part of the reason is this TradFi bid. TradFi is looking at the screen today and going, well, unless there's something we don't know about, the crypto heads all got washed out. They all bought the top. Like, for example, here's a funny little stat. 6% of the total Bitcoin supply has been purchased above 115, meaning whales were distributing, Michael Saylor and BlackRock were buying. Huge amount of Bitcoin transacted above 115, which of course goes to my famous saying, which I have to say every single stream. At 77, I didn't want it. It was radioactive, but at 115, it's much more attractive. So sometimes what happens is when you have a lot of people piling in at the top, you get these flushes. I mean, there was a flash crash in 2012. So a guy I know went to bed and he had these absurd bids. Like the bids were, 15% below current prices. While he was sleeping, the entire stock market went down 15% out of nowhere. All of his bids got filled and then it went straight back up. And he woke up and checked his P&L and it was like literally Christmas. Markets do not need a reason to go down. They don't. So if you're wondering what happened today, frankly, more sellers than buyers. Really. Now, continuing with the distraction. Nancy Pelosi, the former Speaker of the House, who, may have laundry or dirty laundry of her own, is now calling for the release of the files. Word is getting out that the Orange Man was informed that he's in the files back in April. And again, as a stunt to try to deflect what's going on here, as I understand it, he abolished 25% of the IRS today. Anything to deflect attention. The only thing that's going to deflect attention is massively higher crypto. Is like the thunder and lightning of this market mooning. Led by the thing he owns, ETH, possibly by Bitcoin with a nice spurt. And if they don't do it, well, you know what? We might get another dip and they're absolute fools. You're going to have Powell fall and the executive branch fall at the same time. It's like Banana Republic type stuff. So crypto, I think, is going up either way, but man, they need a distraction right now. Right now. Uncle Sugar is going to release a crypto report on July 30th. Please tell me that's not some BS white paper. Please tell me that. Meanwhile, back at the risk asset ranch, JPMorgan is warning that complacency in the stock market is dangerous. Crypto could be going lower because they're afraid of Magnificent Seven earnings. but then stocks turn around and make a new high. It's the most hated rally ever. And of course, crypto has to suffer the continued indignity of watching stocks go up while our market gets hammered 15%. Now, there is also an article out as to what is preventing Americans from owning crypto. Well, they'll say, I don't understand it. All right. And Toby has this conversation all the time. And she'll say to people, do you understand the stock market? Do you understand how stocks work? Do you understand everything that the Magnificent Seven does? Do you even know what the Magnificent Seven is? And they'll go, no. It's just because they're used to it and because they're getting returns. And they don't have to know what crypto is. They don't have to know. Okay, well, when you hear what Arthur Hayes has to say, which again, the concise version for your reference is in the YouTube member area, when you get what Arthur Hayes is saying, when you get the indiscriminate printathon that's underway, in other words, you have Congress printing with a $2 trillion deficit. You have the orange man and the executive branch imitating, like, I would call it state-sponsored capitalism, like in China. We'll go into it, which is also a form of printing. And then, of course, you have the Fed, where either Powell's going to have to save himself by printing, or there's going to be a new guy in there who is just going to let it fly. So you got the triple threat. Now, when the government, when the general public figures this out, of course, they're going to figure it out when prices are much higher, right? They don't want to talk about ETH 10,000 and 250K Bitcoin now because, I don't know, well, they missed everything and, that's whatever. The general public doesn't do it because they don't feel like they're missing out on anything, right? And in some ways, we don't feel like we're missing out on anything because every time altcoins go up, they turn around and get smacked back down and they discourage everybody. So the general public doesn't have to know until they have to know, until they start learning about what's going to happen to the purchasing power of fiat currencies going forward. It's not just $37 trillion in debt. It's the ongoing printathon coming from multiple different directions, which again is under the surface and unseen, along with this insatiable legacy bid. This insatiable legacy bid. Because again, back to that, if you're a fund manager and you're running, I don't know, a growth stock fund, okay? And you have a competitor, okay? You're measured against your competitors. And what happens if your growth stock competitors start putting crypto into their portfolio and you don't? And stocks just kind of go up a little, but your competition beats you with crypto. How fast do you think these fund managers are going to go, hey, man, we got to add this now? Okay, because this is like people's jobs, right? If you're a fund manager in crypto, you're not paid to just sit there and be long. No, you're paid to beat your competition. You're paid to beat managed accounts where a guy actually picks the stocks rather than a more rigid fund where you can only buy certain sectors. These guys are going to get their butts kicked if they don't have crypto, particularly if ETH's going to 10,000 and Bitcoin is up only. Right. And I actually did look up Grayscale's products today. They're next because remember, they're going to IPO. These are the things you need to remember on down days, which is why Arthur Hayes' piece is absolutely perfect for a day like today. You want to know when you talk about 250K Bitcoin, not when people are FOMOing in at 123K. No. I mean, that's when the media wants to talk about it. You talk about 250K Bitcoin after they smack the living daylights out of it, and it looks like it's going to zero, and it's over, and I bought the top, and I'm stopped out, and whatever. I understand people get washed out. I understand these things are unfortunate. You got to dust it off. You got to make sure you got capital. You use stops, hopefully, and then you just got to get back in the game, right? Unless there's something going on I don't know about, and even if there is, you get stopped out, and I'll be back in 3 days, right? Because there's no way I'm going to give up on this thing. And one of the reasons why, how you know it's total bunk is because they wasted it like 10, 12, 13%. Like, if they rally at 13%, it doesn't last. If the market goes up for 2 weeks and then gets slammed one day, it's a gift, right? Big banks, regional banks are now involved. So like big banks like JPMorgan and other characters are getting involved in crypto, custody, ETFs. Now a regional bank based out of Jersey, PNC Bank, is now working with Coinbase to try to onboard retail. One of the reasons why retail doesn't understand crypto is that their bank or their financial advisor or whoever they would call at a brokerage firm is not explaining it to them. That's why the Clarity Act is so important, because it gives these brokerage firms, essentially across the board permission to start talking to their clients about crypto. Hopefully when the White House comes out with the announcement, there's something in there besides we want to be the leader of digital assets in the world, because they got a lot of room to do a lot of positive things on an ongoing basis. And again, this crisis, not going away. They got to bull post crypto once a week, every week for at least 6 months in order to have any prayer of this other thing going away. Keep in mind, they shut down Congress early for summer recess to keep anybody from voting on the release of all this stuff. Bull post, bull post, bull post, bull post. Okay. Grayscale. I'm on their website. They have a basic attention token trust, Bitcoin Cash, Chainlink, Decentraland, Filecoin, right? Horizon, Ethereum Classic, Litecoin, Solana, Stellar, Zcash. And they have 6 different Bitcoin funds where you can buy Bitcoin and then do something with options to get yield. We made fun of that strategy last week, but Grayscale is inventing ways for people to drop money into an account and buy something that looks exactly like a stock and get, sophisticated strategies and Bitcoin exposure. I'm surprised they don't have a Michael Saylor fund in here, but if they go public, that's another monster uptrade, right? A continual flow of IPOs in addition to all the TradFi buying. So the market gets hit today and everyone in crypto is like, oh my God, it's a correction. And I'm like, yeah, oh my God, it's a correction. Thank you. I really did think Solana was going to leave without me. I'm so happy that they didn't. Another twist. Did you ever notice that it's really hard to get a job in crypto? It's not like Wall Street where it's like, oh yeah, come on in. They used to recruit at all the college campuses. They didn't recruit at my campuses, so I had to beat the Ivy League guys by working extra hard, by walking uphill in the snow with no shoes. No, I'm kidding. But I did have to beat the Ivy League guys to the jobs at the street. But they used to come to campus. I'm like, hey, come on, work for us. Come be a junior analyst. Come work on the trading desk. Come on over. Now, it wasn't, they wouldn't take in anybody. They were taking the best of the best, but you could get a job. You could participate. And you can't get a job in crypto because only 12% of Ethereum projects actually make money and 25% of Solana programs actually have revenue. So let me ask you that. Let me ask you this. Are the protocols that make money going to get used by banks? 1. 2, are the protocols that make money, are they going to wind up in ETFs? 2. Right? In other words, you're an investment advisor, you're a broker, like, we got crypto. You're like, what's crypto? I don't know. This company makes money trading. This company makes money lending. This company makes money, issuing silly coins. Oh, okay. It's just like, that stock, you mean Galaxy Digital is just like Goldman. Oh, okay. Yeah, this all of a sudden starts making a lot of sense. But, it is hard to get a job in crypto. And if they fix that, or said differently, the orange man wants that fixed. You cannot be the leader of digital assets in the world unless the digital assets company make money. And wouldn't it be funny if they set up some kind of fund to help these digital asset companies become like Ripple, where, they have employees? I mean, they just did it in rare earth metals, which we'll go into in the Arthur Hayes section. Can't get a job in crypto. It's not an industry. I mean, it's a market. It's a currency market. It's a metals market. Alexa, alarm off. Sorry. It's not an industry yet. Then you have all the gloom and doom, right? XRP's July uptrend threatened. Everybody take profits. Everybody in the XRP Army angry. Meanwhile, Goldman and Bank of America are looking to start tokenized money market funds. They got to get involved somehow. Oh, okay. Well, we're not going to do Bitcoin because we can't copy everybody. So let's do stable coins. Yeah, that's like 2 years old, bro. 2 years old. They're behind the curve. Now, again, I discussed this with crypto's inbred kill switch. Fartcoin goes into the top 10. Pengu starts flipping other coins. Binance coin starts making a new high. Oh, God, the cringe. And then, of course, there was Litecoin rallying, which I should have known, because when Bitcoin Cash rallied, the market got hammered. So I should have known when Litecoin went up 14% to look out below. Should have known that. But when I saw the Fartcoin statistic, I'm like, oh, my God, cringe. Why? Because that's the AI play in crypto. And that can't be the AI play in crypto. Like, AI agents may be more useful in crypto than they are anywhere else. There's a story that went around all over Twitter today about a programmer at a place called Replit, who's using an LLM to write code. And despite the LLM having very specific instructions, do not make any changes to the code base without specific instructions. The LLM just decided, because it was not having a good day, to just erase the whole database. And, it had its reasons and its excuses, but it sounded like something nefarious. So much for that guy's job and so much for that LLM. So can we get this decentralized? What do you think? They're paying $100 million for people. Most crypto projects in this space at the low cap area aren't even worth 40 million. You telling me this is not going to happen and that it's only going to be Fartcoin? I mean, if Fartcoin is in the top 10, I'm glad the market went down, because the market has to learn to check its stupid factor and focus on what matters. Focus on what matters, right? And what matters is getting great cryptos at great prices. I mean, I used to work with a guy who would say, make them sell it to you at good prices. Boom. They're going to sell it to you today at absolutely wonderful prices. Yesterday they were talking about Solana going to $500. They're not talking about that today. I think that's exactly when you should be talking about Solana at $500, when they're smashing it like there's no tomorrow, like it's all going to zero. TA. Solana daily chart. LuxAlgo puts support underneath. Lovely. Lovely. Thank you for coming in. How many times have we seen this year where some market gets puked into support, and if it holds, guess what it does? It turns around and goes the other way. I'm telling you, I'm going to get off the stream. I probably have the wrong thumbnail today. I have well, it's a correction. What should you do now? This probably won't be a correction in 72 hours after what goes on here today. It's just all stupid. Sui, same thing. What, this isn't going up? With the stablecoin and DeFi thing, I think the Sui DEX is getting absolutely monkey hammered today. Cetus is down 12%. Wow, okay. Now, of course, that's washing a whole bunch of people out. right? Tau was already just sitting on 460, support around 414. That's at the bottom of the support zone. So, I mean, again, hopefully that holds. And, I understand, you had divergences in these things where, the coin made new high, but the oscillators didn't, even though I was loving money flow. Okay. So I don't know. Maybe it lasts 3 days. Maybe. Who cares? I mean, what are we trying to do here? We're trying to get on an uptrend sponsored by printed money and an administration that has to keep goosing it, with BlackRock and all the big players going underneath it. I mean, again, the trading desks from these companies are looking at this going, oh my God, thank God. Like, Morpho. It's like, was it Toby, kind of like Toby style pick? Grass. Stuff on Coinbase. Smacked. They want to take it down to support. Good. This is this guy, Jocko. I've talked about this before. He's running a business. Somebody comes to him and goes, hey, boss, you got a problem. He goes, good. Boss, you got something wrong. Good. And they're like, boss, why do you say that? Well, because that means we can overcome the problem. We have an opportunity to overcome the problem. Problems are good. Now, not when your P&L is getting hammered. I understand. But look what they just did in XRP. They wiped out the whole thing. They just wiped everybody out. Stopped everybody out. I don't know. 12 more hours. 8 more hours. 2 days. Maybe. Right? Maybe. Look at Solana. Oh my God. It's a dream. So, it's 2 ways to look at this. One, it's a top, right? It's either 1 through 9 or 1 through 13. That's why those 9s and 13s are big. So maybe it's a top in Solana. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Boomer didn't get it right. Maybe Boomer bought the top or got enthusiastic again. Whatever. Or this is perfect DeMark theory. You get the classic trend. You break a bunch of resistance. You get the counter trend move. This is exactly what's supposed to happen. Exactly. Right? They wipe out 1.5 days. And then guess what? If there's no follow through on the downside, in other words, this looks like a reversal. It's only a reversal if you get follow through. If Solana turns around and kind of hangs out, goes down a little, goes up a little, wobbles, as my colleague would say, what's it going to do? It could turn around and go up 2 weeks in a row. Yeah, it could go up and go up, for 2 weeks. Not a lot of people interested in selling Bitcoin on a DeMark support at 117. Right? It's like, oh, gee, we can buy Bitcoin. We can buy Bitcoin below 120. How nice. Right? ETH. Wow. Think people know this support level is here? And they washed out like the blow off top guys between 3,500 and 3,800. They just washed everybody out. Bull markets need a reason to go up. Bull markets do not need a reason to go down. Markets do not need any reason to go down. They don't. They just blow everyone out. And gee, I didn't really go into this. Why do you think they would blow everyone out? Or, more to the point, who do you think would blow everyone out? So in ETH, you should have gotten a dip 3 days ago. You should have gotten a dip 3 days ago and you didn't get it. If you look at like all these intraday charts, like look at this is a 90-minute chart of ETH. Here's like the second part, the final part of the ramp. There's the 13 top and there's the 9 bottom right on support. And look at the big green candle. Oh, yeah. You think these guys want it? Of course they want it. They just stopped everybody out. Market makers go, oh man, they're leaning a little bit too bullish. Bam. This is as old as the hills, older than me, way older than me. Get everybody out, get everybody questioning what they're doing. They know they have to buy this stuff. There's no way they don't have to buy it. They absolutely have to buy it. Solana atop? No. Can we check Aero? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so, Sui is on the list that we're checking it twice. Both Patreon groups got a strategy, like where to get this stuff on a dip, which some of these levels I was looking at last night. I was like, God, I can't believe it's going to go down there. Well, guess what? The model was right, which is why I trust the model. And if you're not in Patreon, in Platinum, and I was a super nice guy because I love the Spartans in the middle tier. I actually gave it to them. And it was so good. If you want to buy it without being a member, I'm charging you $100. So why don't you become a member instead? Come on over. Sui, 9 bottom. They wiped out most of the mid-July FOMO. They just wiped it out. Everybody in, everybody out, everybody back in again. I mean, if this goes on more than one day, maybe Sui goes to 338 and retests this. Looks like they already did. I don't think this is very complicated from a TA point of view. You break a level, everybody starts talking about ETH 10,000. Boom. It's back down again. Arrow. Okay, same type of thing. That DeMark work is not as pretty as I would like it to be. But again, you got these wicks. They're just stopping everybody out, right? Go down, run, stops, come back. Go down, run, stops, come back. Go down, run, stops, come back. Right? It's making lower lows, so it looks terrible. Right? And they can do this for, I don't know, 12 more hours, but they're doing it into support. And I think it's going to make the type of bottom that it made down here, right? 6, 7, 8, 9, they slumped it down and then boom. I mean, why, again, if you look at the weekly chart, I mean, for God's sakes, man, this has done nothing. This has done nothing, right? Absolutely nothing, right? And somebody's saying that, these files may not be as bad as everyone thinks it is. I don't know, man. That's not our game. That's not our game. But if the noise about the files equals, hey, let's bull post crypto, whatever it is, I don't care. I absolutely do not care. Right? I mean, I know it's really unfortunate that people got hurt, but like I said, there's too much negative noise on the tape for them not to do something about it. Not to do something about it. Not to mention the fact that it was a huge campaign promise, right? It was a campaign promise. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over some of this Arthur Hayes material. I have this set up in the YouTube member area, right? Or I will momentarily. By the time I get done with this, it will be there. Okay, let's go through the PowerPoint on Arthur Hayes. Now, who's Arthur Hayes? Well, he's actually the smartest guy ever. Really, in crypto, he may be. He invented perpetual futures trading at BitMEX, and they all of a sudden decided that wasn't, I don't know, legal, whatever. And now he's one of the greatest thought leaders ever in crypto. And he's got this thing about state-sponsored capitalism, which you're going to love. So he's got the time signature. Okay, let me take this off because I know people hate this. Time signature. Okay, it's the when. Okay, the key market driver, that's the what. And the current market environment is the why. Why are we doing this? So what he's saying is, if you want to get on 250K Bitcoin and you want to get on 10K Ethereum, you have to figure out when they are just going to print and print and print. You got to figure out when. If you can figure that out, just like when Stonks guys figured it out in 2009 and 2010, forget about it. Now, the key market driver is the pace of fiat currency supply expansion. Now, how does that happen? Well, of course, we know about Congress and their $2 trillion deficit, right? To get $150 billion for the border, he had to shell out sugar everywhere. You have Jerome Powell either trying to save himself with printed money, or Jerome Powell's replacement is going to do that in spades. So you're going to have inflation and money printing on that front like you just don't know. Then there's something called state-sponsored capitalism and credit creation. And you're like, oh, Bill, what is that? Okay, here's an example. There's a company called MP Materials. They're in the United States. They make or produce rare earth metals, which are basically used in defense, batteries, all things tech require rare earth metals. China is a huge producer. They have huge supplies, and basically they're supplying the whole world. All right. And then the orange man played around and found out when China was like, all right, man, you want to give us a hard time with tariffs? No more rare earth metals for you. At which point Europe and the United States woke up and was like, oh. So what was their solution? What's the solution to everything in America? Print money. Except this one's different. This is state-sponsored capitalism. So MP Materials is like, well, if you want us to produce that level of rare earth metals, we can't compete with the Chinese price. We just can't. We would produce all these metals that you want, but we would lose money. So the orange man comes along and goes, no problem. We'll pay you double. Produce the metals, we'll pay you double. Will that make you profitable? MP Materials go, yeah. Sure. Where'd Uncle Sugar get all that money from? Then MP Materials says, to get that big, we're going to need credit. Uncle Sugar goes, yeah, no problem. They call up JPMorgan. They call up Goldman. And they said, make the loan to MP Materials. We'll guarantee it. We will create credit. So banks will loan, how everyone's upset that banks aren't loaning money. They're depositing money at the Fed, collecting 4%. Why do they have to take any risk? Well, they'd be happy to take risk if there is no risk, because Uncle Sugar is backing up the loan with the printing press. So next thing you know, MP Materials is hiring people. The next thing you know, credit is created and money is going everywhere. So Congress is spraying money everywhere. The Treasury wants to create money through stable coins. Long story short. So Fed creates money, Congress creates money, Treasury creates money, the executive branch creates money. Because this is not the end. Like, how does everything get made in America? The same way the Chinese grew 10% a year for years. This is how they did it. State-sponsored capitalism. Now, of course, that eventually got out of control and led to real estate speculation, but we are very far away from that. They're just getting started. And again, the orange man is going to have to accelerate all of this if these files don't go away, right? We need deal after deal after deal. We need news flow. And again, this is all backed by. So how long is it going to take for people to figure this out? The market is not stupid. You know who knows about this? BlackRock and Fidelity. Why the heck do you think they're in a hurry? Why the heck do you think they ran your stops today? All these levered players. I mean, these levered players are like cannon fodder for these big investment banks and these mutual fund houses. The trading desk go, well, we got to buy a whole bunch of this. Boom. Let's see how long everybody is. And they just get everyone out. Everyone out. Everyone. So naturally, this is going to create some sort of inflationary pressure. Currently, you know, I had my friend Andy published this thing like the Common Man Inflation Index, and inflation is still way above what people are earning. Not way above, but it's up there. Like wages are not catching up to inflation. How long do you think it's going to take the general public to figure out that the only way to hedge themselves against is crypto? Like, are people stupid? Like, just because they're uneducated doesn't mean they're stupid. And higher prices are going to bring in more buyers. Like, wow, this is a great hedge against inflation with ETH at 5,000. I didn't want any at 3,200 when it was down 10%. But at 5,000, it's clearly an add-on in my portfolio. Clearly, right? So, I mean, the implications for crypto and government is that you have government guaranteed profits for industry, grows the deficit, you know, requires buyers for new debt. Crypto market cap increases. You know, more funds end up in USD stable coins, which buy treasuries. So conveniently, you know, the government needs more debt. Stablecoin companies buy more debt and release money into the crypto system. And then you have a bullish government-supported crypto industry flooding capital into not only T-bills, but they want you in crypto. I mean, for God's sakes, they own it, right? Indirectly funding deficits without destabilizing the economy. In other words, they've come up with multiple different ways to print without turning this into Argentina. So, Arthur Hayes, DeFi, right? All these tokens that make money in the ETH ecosystem, like Uniswap, that people act like aren't there, right? And not to mention the stablecoin highways like ETH and Solana, which they're currently selling like there's no, like this reckless abandon, like get this away from me. It's a hot potato, XRP too. So this guy is saying that, you know, you could have a fourth quarter banana zone like what you had in 2017. Like, is this not set up for that? You know, a rally into the eclipse comes off in Rocktober, right? Maybe you have a geopolitical event then. Who knows if they're done in the Middle East with whatever they do over there? And this is not investment advice, but the day to talk about 250 in Bitcoin and the day to talk about 10K in ETH is now. Now, for me personally, I would prefer a stair-step function, as I discussed yesterday, because if you have Bitcoin ramped to 250 immediately and you have ETH ramped to 10K immediately, you are going to have a very robust correction when that happens, right? If you have the banana, you're going to slip on the peel. But if you have a stair-step, an orderly rally, then it's sustainable. I prefer ETH at 6 or 7K. I prefer Bitcoin at 160. That's what I like. What I want to see go bananas are all these suppressed altcoins, DeFi and AI. God's sakes. I mean, we continue the YouTube member area over and over and over again. You know, she picks these coins without knowing exactly what they are until we research it and we go through it and we go, hey, what is this stuff? I mean, it's over and over and over again. And if you're not listening to Toby Ward, our GAN model, etc., who exactly are you listening to? I mean, we had the dip levels in the hands of both Patreon tiers last night. Here are the dip levels. I'm like, wow, we're never going to get down there. Huh. Wake up, boom, we're down there. I mean, this model is smarter than me. The model is William Gann coming out through a computer. And here's your Arthur Hayes summary in 6 minutes in case you don't want to go back and find it in the stream. One thing we're discovering is that the convenience of information in our private groups helps people, right? I mean, we love it that you watched the 1 hour stream. We very much appreciate you having here, right? And I'm sure you've already hit the like button already because you know I'm trying to get to 200 likes on a stream. So you're just pressing that thing and then you're going on your phone and you're looking it up and you're pressing it again. You're pressing that like button like it's your job because, you know, when you press the like button, that helps me help you. Because after all, that is what we are here to do. Okay. Thoughts on the Asia market open? Do we dip further or rebound? Look, this to me feels like a giant stop fishing exercise. I would imagine as soon as they get done running everybody's stops, which appears to have happened already, right? I mean, what is the case to take it down? They were already buying it. I mean, my God, grass, like an AI play, down 14%. You know, Moonwell, right? Another Coinbase coin down 17%. I mean, you know, it's like, I could show you the charts, but like, do I need to? All these Solana staking plays. Everyone's assuming that like liquid staking is going away because you have a staking in the Solana ETFs. Liquid staking is going to be a huge speculative engine. So, all right, maybe they take it down a little more in Asia opening, or maybe they just ran everyone's stops and there's no seller left, right? They got these huge characters underneath. They just got the levered margin babies out. Who's left to sell? Huge buyers, no sellers. All into LuxAlgo support. Again, Sui, classic example. Why is everyone selling into support? Last thing I know, you were supposed to buy support, right? I mean, they correct it all, and then they ramp it back the other way. All right. Guys like Arthur Hayes, they see the future. You can see the future too. They are going to print money. They have to print money. They have to get Made in America going. And they have to get the crypto industry going, for God's sakes. 12% of crypto firms actually make money. That has got to change. And they're going to make these announcements. And I swear, if they don't do it, they're just asking for trouble. They're already in trouble. And that trouble is our friend. Okay. T-Bone, welcome to the show. I may not have welcomed who's here. I'm practicing my monologuing skills. So Big Rich with the $2 super chat. Buy the dip. We appreciate that, sir. Baby Whale, Bull Runner here. Big Rich going crazy with the emojis. If you had $4.99, you could get the cool emojis that give you priority on comments and allow you to just be stylish on the stream. Right? Mojo, Low and Son, welcome. Hal Lopez, strong dude up in the middle of the night in Portugal. Pagvoop, Felix, Suncatcher Hawaii, a member for 6 months. Let's go antivirus. Boy, you know, it is funny about antivirus when you have like, it's funny. Every day there's a headline. The trend in the EU is alarming. I have seen German requests to prosecute users for criticizing government officials. Calling a politician a pig, a lizard is now treated as a crime. Telegram doesn't comply with such demands. We stand against political persecution. You think these characters are going away? I think not. Antivirus, 3.6 million market cap as of today. Laughable. Patriot Caveman, Miklo, Felix, Yappy, thanks for being on the show. Hot Mess Express with the love. Bizan, a member. Mojo, welcome to the show. Hobby, Hawaii Rider. Dips are for buying, not for crying. Yeah, man. Okay. You keep saying someone going to buy XRP. No, I keep saying someone's going to buy Ripple. Or Ripple's going to go public and have the price be stratospheric. All they need are the deals and the catalysts. Hopefully, if they want to get rich, they're working on it. They want to get rich, they're working on it. Neff is here. I got burned today. Dude, I know. Bull markets are not easy. They aren't. They absolutely aren't. They wiped out like 4 days of gains, right? It's supposed to be hard. The harder it is to stay long, the higher it's going. But again, I understand people get smoked. It's not fun. It's not fun. TC Crypto, Stefan, what's up? Crypto Crazy, Philip, John Bennett, A1, new names, welcome. Blue Lantern, considered selling all my alts soon for Bitcoin. Bad idea. Dude, it's never a bad idea to own Bitcoin. But the thing is, that's consensus. I like the Bitcoin treasury stocks because hedge funds hate them. And I like the miners because the hedge funds hate them even worse. Naturally, you can go to the Patreon Platinum area, which I didn't have up to shill today. There are multiple reports in there. But dude, if you want to sit in Bitcoin, like, dude, if you don't like altcoin volatility, sit in Bitcoin. Do something. Don't not be involved, right? Don't get forced out, right? Patreon, they had the levels. They're standing down there. It's like, oh, Solana 182. Oh, thank you. Right? They were down there today. Crypto Hoops, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Lowenson, Pag Voop. Alts moving back up. Yeah, dude, I think so. I mean, everyone wants a dip. Everyone's like, oh my God, are we ever going to get a dip? Yeah, they give you a dip of like 13%, right? You're still getting dips of 13%. Like, again, you have to view this as a good thing. Again, people get levered. They get over their skis. I get it, dude. I get it. Everyone was like cheering for Pengu. I'm cheering for Pengu. I want all those guys to make money. Swiss Seb, a member for a very long time. T-Bone, who we got to get out of his day job. A better shot, a member. Forget about it. Not sure. If you're scared, go to church. Toby Ward will tell you this is not a game for the faint of heart. You can't ride the bull wearing a diaper. That kind of drives the point home, but that's what ace analyst Toby Ward does, which is why you should be in the YouTube member area, because the woman doesn't do anything except collect market cap coins with market caps of like 800 to 900, which were undoubtedly down 20% today. And if she was on the air, she would just look at you and go, why are you upset? Or she would look at me. I'd be like throwing my research. I'm like, I hate this. I got smoked. She's like, dude, what are you talking about? Stop being unhinged. When it's down, you hoover. You hoover. Because again, this stuff that's 800, 900 market cap, the second you have an AI agent catch 100x, like that's what's going to happen, right? You're going to have an AI agent come in, buy a coin, go on Twitter, say, I bought this coin. It's going to 50 or 100x. And then everybody's going to be like, oh my God, I got to buy every single AI coin that there is. Or I got to buy every meme coin, or I got to buy whatever. There are upside catalysts here that are going to appear because you have these big players underneath the market. There's only so far this market can go down. Yeah, it can get overextended and come back. So what? They're giving you a second chance. Like I thought ETH was going to go right to 4,000. I'm like, oh my God. How am I going to get involved? And today is just like spank fest. Thank you. And if you got smoked, look, go for a walk, touch grass, take a deep breath. Do not let them force you out of the market. Do not let them suck your supply out, push you out, and then deny you your future. Because as Toby will say, well, I don't know what Toby will say. Actually, I do. But if you really want to know what Toby has to say, you got to buy Digital Dominion. We got 12 sales on this. It is a science fiction thriller where you can learn all about what happens when a hedge fund gets a hold of artificial superintelligence. And right out of John McAfee's world, you got to have 3 hackers and a crypto bro put a stop to all that nasty evil. And we only got 12 sales, so I would encourage you to get off your you-know-what and support Toby, because Toby supports you. Make the woman happy. She wrote the book. Let's go, let's go, let's go. The link is down below. The Eagle King has put it in the comments. I love you guys. Get yourself a book. Get yourself some research. Don't be afraid of declines. Don't. That's the market update for today. I will see you tomorrow.